Hi, my name is Peter Chappell and I've been a homeopath for 40 years. And on this video I want to talk to you about the intelligence of diseases. Now, the conventional wisdom is diseases are bad and health is good. And I want to tell you that that's complete rubbish. Diseases are trying to give you information about how you're living your life. You're not learning from your experience, and we're all experts at not learning from experience. So what happens is, when we ignore our lives and the messages we're getting sufficiently often, complete head in the sand, not to do with me numbers, we get diseases, chronic diseases, most of which are telling us very direct messages about wake up. So my first point is diseases are intelligent and they're really useful information telling you what you're refusing to acknowledge about yourself, and we're all expert at refusing to acknowledge stuff about ourselves. That's how it is. I'm sorry, but that's how we do it. So we've written a book about homeopathy for diseases, this book here, and in it, at the back, there's a whole set of shamanic journeys into diseases. Because we were working on things like AIDS and malaria and TB and such like in Africa, we wanted to find out what was the purpose of these diseases once it gradually dawned on us that diseases were intelligent. You know, I've been a homeopath for 40 years. It hadn't really occurred to me for 35 years that diseases had any intelligence, or 30 years at least. It was a new idea to me. But it wasn't really new because, in fact, there's a tradition in conventional therapy about there's whole books on explaining how your symptoms are telling you something, what they mean. And there's deep, profound books on this subject. But anyway, for example, Making Sense of Suffering by J. Conrad Stettbecker. Stettbecker, I think, would be correct. As a typical of the books that have come out of Germany, which tell you the nuts and bolts of how you turn your unspoken psychology, your unworked out psychology, into diseases. But what we did was we did shamanic journeys because we wanted to understand TB and AIDS and malaria and such like diseases. And what we found was that these are incredibly profound intelligences whose key job is to wake us up. The human race, if you analyse it, started off as animals, and we're trying to become human. But most of our activity, if you analyse it, is primitive animal activity. The mating game, for example, dominates most people's lives. They're dressing up, and teenagers are completely into the mating game. And panic is part of the animal survival instincts. So diseases are made of animal forces not being expressed humanly, if you like, within us. And their purpose is to wake us up. And every disease has a core intelligence behind it. And if you speak to hospital doctors about epidemic diseases, they'll tell you that the drugs are getting to be no use because they've adapted to the medicines. Well, it's because the diseases are intelligent. They adapt intelligently because they're determined to get their message across, and they don't have an issue about particular human beings having a life or not. They're looking after the human race. That's their job, to look after us by waking us up. Because the purpose of being alive, if you analyse it or get it, is simply to wake up. And that, what we're taught throughout our whole education and every other way and upbringing, is to stay asleep. We wake up in the morning, except we don't. The purpose of life is to get into those magic moments when we're fully alive. Wow! So if you want to know more about this book has got in the appendix a lot of the shamanic journeys. And there's tons of other places you can go on this. But what I'm talking to you mainly about is dropping this stupid mantra, fight cancer, fight disease. It's never going to work. You have to love it to bits. And you have to learn what it's telling you, which is to love yourself and to live life to the full. Okay, thanks for listening and watching.